What happened when you were a teenager, 13 more specifically, that led you to creating this beautiful place called Arctic Elevation?
At 13 years old, my life just flipped upside down. In a matter of 2 weeks, I lost about 30 pounds. So I was 6 feet tall, 105 pounds, and I was 13. That's when I started experiencing the most sharp, burning pain that it's indescribable. Doctors, specialists, they didn't necessarily understand what I was going through. They didn't necessarily take me seriously of what I was going through. I never felt heard. I never felt seen. That was a constant cycle. I wasn't physically able to get out of bed anymore because of how much pain I was in. There was no purpose in my life.
David went from being bedridden at 13 to launching one of the most cutting-edge wellness centers. From idea then to fruition. That's not easy.
No.
That's very, very hard. What gave you that belief or assurance that those modalities that you're putting together, the cryotherapy, red light, infrared, the IV drip, that together it's gonna work so well?
Because I saw the instant transformation in my life. When you have passion behind your career, your profession, whatever it may be, it's a different kind of life.
David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Paul.
I've been waiting for months
and
to
months.
make this
We finally
happen.
made it work.
So thank you so much. I really
Of
appreciate it.
course.
For those who don't know who David is, he is the CEO and founder of Arctic Elevation, which is a premier wellness center. It's a franchise model with multiple locations throughout the United States. And what I want to talk to you, David, or start the conversation with, what happened when you were a teenager, 13 more specifically, that led you to creating this beautiful place called Arctic Elevation?
I grew up really healthy. I was an active kid, and sports were my identity. So playing soccer, that was my identity. Basketball, that was my identity. At 13 years old, my life just flipped upside down. In a matter of 2 weeks, I lost about 30 pounds. So I was 6 feet tall, 105 pounds, and I was 13. So you can imagine I was just the skinniest kid in school. But during all this time, that's when I started experiencing the most sharp, burning pain that it's indescribable. Still to this day, I can't describe how much pain I was in 24/7. I'd go to sleep, I'm in pain. I'd wake up, I'm in pain. Going through my day, I'm in pain. And so I was trying to describe this, to doctors, specialists. They didn't necessarily understand what I was going through. They didn't necessarily take me seriously of what I was going through. I never felt heard. I never felt seen. And so that was a constant cycle that occurred year after year after year. I was sent to specialist after specialist, and it was the same thing. I leave the doctor's office feeling worse than when I came in because mentally it was the same cycle of not being taken seriously. Because when it did start when I was younger, I was 13, 14, 15. So doctors maybe thought I was exaggerating, making it up, maybe growing pains. So we never got to the root of my issue.
And they ran different kinds of tests?
We ran different types of tests. Some doctors didn't want to run tests because they thought it was maybe a mental thing that was happening. When I try to describe how much pain I'm experiencing 24/7 in my entire lower half. So that started in March. I was in 8th grade at the time. Fast forward 6 months later, it's September, and I'm supposed to be a freshman in high school. 1 month in, I had to drop out and enroll into online school because I was bedridden at that point. I wasn't physically able to get out of bed anymore because of how much pain I was in. So something like going to school, I was really envious of my friends because they didn't realize how quickly my life had changed in a matter of months. And that was really, really hard for me to endure. I was young still. I was 14, and my life had just flipped upside down.
Wow. I mean, so what was going through your mind? Were you like afraid that you got something that's really serious? How was it like at home with parents, your siblings?
It made it worse. Well, it was hard with my parents because I put myself in their position. Their young son is now going through all these health problems. So I could see the pain in their eyes. So then I would take that pain on myself and I would start to mask everything. I wouldn't tell them exactly how much pain I'm in. So I stopped sharing things with my family, stopped sharing things with my friends, and I just started taking it all into myself. It's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can handle this. I can handle this. But because of that, it ruined me in a way because my baseline of I'm fine was way too high for what it should have been when I was only 13, 14, 15.
You look very healthy right now,
Mhm.
obviously. You look great. So, what happened after that? So, you're having these issues. How did you get out of that situation?
It wasn't until I reached my breaking point. My absolute breaking point is when I was 17 and I was in a really serious car crash with my parents. We were on a freeway. My parents were driving. I was the back right of the car, and a box truck hit us going about 70, 75 miles an hour. So he hit me directly on. We 360 spun on the freeway, hit another car. So that car crash left me with really severe nerve and cervical damage in my neck. From that crash, I couldn't turn my neck to the left for 3 years, and my right arm was immobile for about a year and a half.
And you're still at that time feeling that
That's what a
pain.
lot of people need to realize, that even at that time, I was still going through everything else. But at my absolute breaking point, I gave up on everything. I vividly remember there was no purpose in my life. All my dreams were gone. I was stuck in bed 24/7. There was nothing for my life. It felt like I genuinely could do nothing. 2 years of enduring that, I basically said, no, I can't keep living like this. There has to be more to my life. I'm too young for this. I started looking to holistic wellness as much as I could. I basically said, I'm done with our healthcare system. I need something. I need a solution. I've tried everything. I've seen specialist after specialist after specialist. I've been given this prescription, that prescription. I've tried everything. Maybe there's something that can help me. So research this, research that. But red light therapy, it kept coming up because it can help with autoimmune conditions.
Mhm.
And so I just said, okay, I'm going to try it. So I just ran a 3-month study on myself if I'm going to feel any bit better. 1 month goes on. I'm doing it about 4 to 5 times a week the first month, and I could turn my neck to the left 25%. So after that first month, it's like, okay, I can do this. I can do a full 3 months. There's some change. After 3 months finish, I felt like a completely new person, completely new David. So that's when I had a click in my heart. It was 2019 at the time that I have to bring this out to other people. Because if there's anyone that knows, it's me, what it's like to be in any kind of physical, mental, or emotional pain. So then I started applying myself to other holistic services. I thought, okay, red light therapy exists. It helped me. There have to be other applications that can help me enhance my longevity. That's what actually brought us to Arctic Elevation. The cycle that we have at Arctic: cryotherapy, red light therapy, infrared sauna, compression therapy, IV drip therapy. Those are all services that I did to heal myself. That's what brought us to Arctic Elevation now.
Mhm. So, did you go back to, let's say, a doctor that you were seeing
Mhm.
and say, "Hey, look at me now. I've done these things," or
You
do
know
you?
what? I never did. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that sometime.
Wow. So, when was the point where you said all of these things are so like a holistic approach
Mhm.
is so makes sense that I actually can open up a business and not just a regular business, a franchise model?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
That happened because of my father. Um, my father, he is an entrepreneur himself.
Mm-hmm.
Immigrated from Ukraine when he was only 19. He started from nothing. I mean, he lived in his boss's basement in the beginning. And so growing up, I saw the work ethic and determination that it takes to make it in this life. I always thought that I had the potential to do that. And my father, he always told me that I have potential to do something. Even at my worst, when I was 16, 17, when I thought I had no purpose, no drive, no goals whatsoever, my dad still kept putting in that mission that I'm meant for something. But growing up, I generally saw the work ethic it takes to make it in this life, from working every single day to provide for your family. And I had that instilled in my brain. And I thought, I had this vision, this idea to help other people. I can do this too. And so I just started brainstorming ways of just how to even name the business.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a personal business to me. I wanted my own self to be a part of our branding. My favorite season of the year is winter. My favorite hobby is snowboarding. Like, okay, cryos are cold therapy. It's a really popular service. It's cold.
Mm-hmm.
Winter is cold. Now let's start thinking of some words that kind of can go together. Arctic really stuck with me for some reason. I love the word Arctic. I had Arctic. Now what can combine it with? The thought behind elevation is that we want to elevate all of our clients' lives to their peak. The symbolism behind their mountains is that it's winter. It's my favorite season of the year. I love to climb. I love to mountaineer in the summer. When you are climbing, it's not just a straight shot to the summit. You're going to fail. You're going to have setbacks just like recovery. It's not an overnight process. I'm not going to magically heal overnight. At Arctic Elevation, we're here to guide everyone to their peak, whatever it is, whatever they're going through. Through our holistic approach, we're guiding everyone to their peaks. That's Arctic Elevation.
Mm-hmm.
So that just started with an idea. I had my dad's inspiration and mentorship of what it takes to become something. And I just continued to carry that out for years and years. It became, in 2020, I generally had my business idea.
So from idea then to fruition.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No.
That's very, very hard because a lot of people have great ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but then you got to do something with that idea. You have to implement, you have to take action.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to believe that whatever is that you are setting out to do, your mission, you're going to succeed. It's going to be successful. What gave you that belief or assurance that those modalities that you're putting together, the cryotherapy, red light, infrared,
Mm-hmm.
the IV drip, that together it's going to work so well?
Because I saw the instant transformation in my life. I struggled for years and years. I saw that these services helped me so much. My situation was so unique. There are millions of other people out there with very unique situations. I knew our services are able to tailor various situations. So I had this utmost belief in myself, faith in myself. When you want to do something, you have to be crazy about it. When you want to go climb a mountain, you have to be so crazy about it to train for months and months and months to go do it. If you want to accomplish anything in life, you have to be crazy about it. You have to love it. And that's what Arctic became for me. I just became so crazy about it that I would work on just one small thing every single day. And that happened to be a tip from my dad about just doing one small thing every single day. That's going to get you to your mountain peak.
So, can you recall during this period, as you're thinking this through and beginning to think of it as a business?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to stay constantly motivated
Mm-hmm.
and wake up and say, "Yeah, I'm like."
Yeah.
There's moments because I've built some businesses, and I know that there's some days that you sort of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you recall some of those moments where
All the time. All the time. I mean, especially when the idea just started, I was so much younger too, with no experience. And I constantly doubted myself. Motivation, it came and went, but it was the determination to help change other people across the states. That's what kept me going. I constantly lose motivation. No one can stay motivated 24/7, but it was my determination to become something of myself. Because again, I had that crazy belief. You have to be crazy about it.
Wow. You got married a year ago
Yeah.
to your wife,
Just
Kiana.
celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys are running this business together.
Yeah.
How is it doing business with your spouse? I know it's sort of sometimes your personal life kind of blends with the
Right.
business,
Mhm.
and not a lot of people can do business,
Mm-hmm.
husband and wife.
Yeah.
How is it so far for you?
I'm really happy you asked me that question because of how much I love my wife. When I first told her my business idea, this was back in 2021, she instantly just fell in love with the idea because it directly aligned with her life. She ran D1 track at NAU, full ride scholarship. Her entire life has been about determination, challenging herself for more and more accomplishments. She used cryotherapy at the age of 11 for a sprained ankle. So she was always using these applications in her own personal life. And then we met, I told her my business idea, and we aligned on that. But in order to work together, with spouse, you need trust, you need communication, you need belief. At the end of the day, my wife trusts and knows that I guess, am the decision maker, that we will discuss all kinds of ideas. It'll be 11 o'clock at night. We'll be in bed. We'll be tossing and turning with an idea. Like, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. That's a creative idea. But she trusts me to carry out the vision for Arctic Elevation. So I think that's always been the biggest thing with aligning roles, responsibilities. She knows what I'm good at, and I know exactly what she's so amazing at. So being able to balance out various roles and responsibilities is also really huge.
So how did you guys narrow down like, hey, this is have you had to do some sort of self-evaluation
Hmm.
and understanding like, hey, this is what kind of person I am. Here are my strengths. This is
Exactly.
where I'm good at.
Hmm.
And this is like, so how's that dynamic like? Let's say just take a random day. You
Yeah.
guys are working on something.
Hmm.
Like what exactly is like your role versus her role in more practical ways?
In more practical ways, I guess I had started off with, let's talk like, social media. Social media is super important. I like to call my wife the Canva girl. So Canva, she's on Canva designing all these amazing social media templates. I personally, I'm not good at that, but she's amazing at that. And I always saw a fit for that. Whereas maybe I'm handling more communication with franchisees or with clients and customers, creating sales promotions, doing more so, I guess, business side of things rather than, creative side of things,
Hmm.
pushing where Kiana, my wife, is able to push our brand in a really amazing new creative way so we continue to scale and grow.
So would you say you're more like you have the vision, you have the ideas often, and then when you guys decide on certain idea implementation,
Mhm.
she sort of takes over and drives that to
Of course, yeah.
fruition.
No, she's amazing. I couldn't do anything without her. Like I said, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary, but we've been together for 4 years, and she came into my life at the most pivotal time. Arctic was just still a concept at the time. I was still brainstorming ways on how to bring it out, but she kept that determination to continue. When I have to wake up, at 5 a.m. for a call on the East Coast, she's there for me to help motivate me to wake up, get mentally ready for that call. If I have to stay up 10, 11, 12 to write this email, she's there motivating me. She'll make my food, get me some water, but she's always there, um, allowing me to go, to the gym to take care of something. But she's always there for my support, which is so necessary.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's so I mean, it's so important to have that support. That's why
Yeah.
I say not a lot of married couples can run
No,
business.
no. Another thing I would like to say thank you to is my parents. My dad, as I mentioned before, he's an entrepreneur himself. My mom was really invested in the beginning of their business as well. And that's exactly when they first got married too. And so I saw that growing up. I saw how invested my mom was with my dad, how she'd help, with the events, with printing. My dad would be in Alaska for an event and she'd be shipping out product the night before because he called. We ran out of stock. I need you to do this. My mom would cry, I don't know how to do this. How am I supposed to do this? She'd drive down to the office, she'd figure it out and ship it out the next morning. I saw that growing up. I have incredible mentorship from my parents, other family, friends. So being able to have that support now is just incredible.
Okay, so what did you do? What kind of other work did you do before you actually started Arctic Elevation?
So I did data analytics for Fine Designs, which is my dad's business. So I did
Hmm.
that for a number of years. I went to UW Foster School of Business for marketing as well.
Okay, so you were sort of employed, right? Like you
Hmm.
were like an employee doing.
Right. Hmm.
So how is it different when you're an employee and you're just kind of doing tasks or different projects that someone basically assigns
Right.
you, and now you're the driver of a
Hmm.
franchise in an industry that's fairly new.
Hmm.
There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of other locations opening up, and
Yeah.
you're involved. You
Mhm.
you know you're helping out. Like, what's that difference? Like, what did you have to learn or understand to shift?
I love that question because I hated being an employee. Oh, I can't be an employee. I can't take directions from someone above.
Mm.
That's just not how I'm built. My dad has always seen that as well. That's why he always would tell me that you're meant for something else. I'm very grateful for the position I had with Fine Designs. It taught me so much in sales. It taught me so much in communication and networking and so much more. But I was never designed for that position. I didn't have the passion behind it. When you have passion behind your career, your profession, whatever it may be, it's a different kind of life. You wake up with a different kind of spirit. You wake up with a different kind of excitement. And that's what I get to live with every single day. I wake up so excited and grateful that this is my position, that I get to lead Arctic Elevation today, tomorrow, the next year, and the years to come. It's such a great opportunity to be able to lead even just on a franchise level where we get to build this network with people, incredible business people all across the world. And it's truly an honor.
Yes, you. I mean, your family and you. So far, how much I know you, um, you guys are a really great inspiration and example for others. Um, I want to ask this question. So, when you were thinking this through, this business,
Mhm,
um, what made you decide to go the franchise model
mhm.
instead of just opening up, let's say, one location and then maybe another location? What was the thought behind it has to be franchise?
A few different ways. So, number one is the effects that we saw on people. About all the testimonies we already started to get from the moment that we opened, it showed how incredible these services are. Because at Arctic Elevation, we invest into the proper equipment, the most effective and most advanced wellness treatments for whole body ailments. So we kept hearing all these testimonies. And I thought to myself, Renton, Washington shouldn't be my only bandwidth. We need to expand all across the US because there are so many more people that are struggling. Like I said, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally. And that's always been my drive because I know what it feels like to be in any kind of pain. Our mission is to feel your best, be your best. You cannot be your best if you don't feel your best. All through my years of pain, misery, I never felt like myself. I didn't know who that person was. I couldn't recognize that David because I didn't feel my best. That's exactly why our mission is feel your best, be your best.
Wow. So you're saying that when you already opened up your Renton location, the first
Hmm.
location in Washington, that's when the idea of, hey, we can franchise this.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I was able to use my dad's mentorship. He's been able to build a rather large business. It's all over the world. It's a global business at this point. And through his mentorship, he advised to go through the franchise world. So that's what
Hmm.
eventually got us to, yes, let's turn this into a franchise concept.
And when you guys are thinking, okay, this is going to be a franchise, are you guys looking at other similar businesses in the industry,
Hmm.
and seeing like how you're going to be different?
Of course, yeah.
Can you identify a few ways that you said, "Oh, we're going to be different in certain areas"?
There's a variety of different aspects. I mean, for instance, our aesthetic and our design, we are a premier luxury facility. When the first 10 seconds a client walks in, they feel the atmosphere we've created with amazing dim lighting, the furniture, the decor, the music we're playing, the spa scents. So we make them feel relaxed within the first 10 seconds. So we don't resemble maybe a medical center that some competitors may resemble. A big part, though, is our customer service. Like I said, I never felt heard, I never felt seen going to the doctor's office. So, our customer service. If anyone looks up an Arctic Elevation studio, looks at our reviews, 99% of them are going to mention our customer service because we make every customer feel heard or feel seen, no matter who they are, what they're going through. And that's been a trained concept through our culture at every single location.
How do you make sure that the other locations that are opening up, those are separate owners,
Mhm.
that they share that same passion for creating that kind of experience on that level?
Mhm. It starts from top to bottom. We will not say yes to a franchisee to sign with us if they don't, number one, have passion for health and wellness, have passion to help people. Because if they're in it, maybe just for money, that culture is not going to stay there. They are not going to push our customer service as important as we would. So we have said no to more people than we have said yes to at this point to join our franchise team. Because, like I said, it's all about our leadership. I see myself as a leader of Arctic Elevation. I live the Arctic lifestyle, whether I'm using the services, how I speak to our clients, how I speak to our franchisees, it's all from top to bottom.
You mentioned that you heard multiple testimonies
Mhm.
after you opened up your location. Can you recall one or two that you can really remember?
One I think about all the time. I won't mention her name, but she was a 10-year-old girl. So she called our office on March 17th for the first time last year. Her mom called my wife, actually. My wife picked up the phone. So telling her story of her daughter. December 28th, she suffered her very first seizure. A few days later, she had three. They were just random occasions. On January 3rd, she suffered 8 seizures in that one day.
Wow.
And that continued to expand and get worse. So in the month of February, she started suffering over 50 seizures a day. So as you can imagine, I mean, that mom is going through a lot, trying to figure out what's going on with her young daughter. And again, she's going through kind of a very similar thing that I went through, where doctors weren't maybe doing the correct tests or dismissing various conditions. Doctors were really adamant that her daughter didn't have any autoimmune condition. But her mom, she had a feeling it had to do something with autoimmune. And so she continued to do research on services that can help autoimmune conditions. So, like I said, she called us for the first time on March 17th asking about red light therapy because her research showed that it can help with her daughter suffering all these seizures. And so we're like, yes, of course, come on by. They lived in West Seattle, which is about a 35-minute drive to our studio. On the way there, she suffered a seizure. When she came to Arctic, she suffered a seizure inside the red light room when she came for the first time. She committed to coming for red light every single day. 2.5 weeks after her very first visit, she didn't suffer a single seizure. That was over a year and a half ago. To this day, she hasn't had a single seizure because of the red light therapy at Arctic Elevation. It's May 28th of 2025. She visited us for the first time March 17th of last year, 2024, and she still hasn't had a single seizure. And now she only does it once a week. That's one of my favorite stories, specifically for that daughter. But then when I look at the mom, the amount of weight lifted off her shoulders. She came on the very first time physically worn out, mentally even worse. She'd cry to us at the front desk, telling about all the horrible things that have happened. But seeing the mom, how happy she is, it is just one of the best feelings that we can have. Not only is the daughter doing amazing, but the mom now has time to prioritize herself, do self-care on herself, which is it's truly such an amazing thing to see.
That's such a great story. Wow. For those people who are watching this podcast or listening, and they don't necessarily understand or know exactly what red light is, can you briefly explain what exactly is red light therapy?
A small breakdown, basic breakdown, is that we're sending energy to ourselves through red light therapy. So our cells, they have more energy to do human functions. So whether you have increased energy, increased oxygen intake, reduced inflammation, your cells just have more energy to do all of these functions, whether it's reducing inflammation, dealing with various conditions, but then it regulates the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus regulates our circadian rhythm. That's what puts us to sleep, wakes us up in the morning at the same time. So, red light therapy alleviates stress, anxiety, depression symptoms, and it improves our sleep. So, a lot of things that come from life, maybe various pain situations, can come from stress and anxiety. So, you're dealing with your body from an all in one approach, specifically Arctic's red light therapy pod. It's the most powerful red light therapy pod in the world because, like I said, we invest into the most advanced equipment. That's what makes us so different from our competitors. We have the most powerful red light therapy pod in the world, has 6 different programs. Whatever the client is going through, we're able to target their need. Because again, Arctic is a unique and tailored approach to everyone's health and wellness. Whether it's sports recovery, chronic pain management, arthritis, we're able to select the program to utilize that pod to target that need.
Because the wave, the depth of the waves
Correct.
are, they vary, and there is no natural way of getting kind of, that red light.
So in a way, it's like the sun.
Yeah.
But localized red light therapy at that depth is far greater for it.
Interesting. Okay, so there's aspiring entrepreneurs out there that are, chasing their dreams, and very often when they're on that side trying to chase something, it seems like, once I get there, it's just gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be at the top of the world, but there's a lot of personal sacrifices, and there's a lot of hardship in building something, especially when you're starting from zero, from
Right.
nothing, right? um, Whenever you feel like overwhelmed or just experiencing something that's just, it's really really difficult, how do you manage that, and what do you do to mentally overcome that and move beyond?
Honestly, Arctic's services, NAD, I like to describe it as peace in my legs. When I'm doing NAD, I feel complete peace. My brain, mental clarity, I feel so refreshed. Cryotherapy, it's that mental and energy focus that I feel. I do all of our service very, very consistently, and that's what continues to keep me going. I want to elevate my own wellness as much as I possibly can. I want to enhance my longevity. I want a pain free life as much as the next person does. So, honestly, it's the services that I continue to do. Communicating with my wife. I grew up holding everything back from my family. I kept everything stored inside, and that began to tear me apart. My wife saw that, and she's been able to help me, I guess, open up in various ways where she can take on various loads. She can help me. And I've had to take time to see that and realize that.
Mm. Earlier you said that the healthcare in America, the traditional healthcare
Mhm.
system, is failing.
Mhm.
I agree with you on that, but why do you think it's failing?
Look at my story. Look at over the 50 million people that are suffering from chronic fatigue and chronic inflammation. It's embedded in our environment for us to struggle. And then we are only written these pain prescriptions to help temporarily mask a situation rather than getting to the root of it. That's what I see the common situation is. Doctors are needed. They are needed in the US, but there's various solutions that could be different. There are various treatments that could be different rather than being written a pain prescription and just masking a situation rather than actually seeing what's going on with your body.
Can you briefly talk about some of the different IV
Mhm.
cocktails that Arctic Elevation offers and what they do?
So we're really well known for our Arctic signature IVs. They're all designed to target specific needs. Like I say all the time, we are a unique and tailored approach to everyone's health and wellness. I went through something very unique. My neighbor could be going through something very unique. Our IVs are designed to target specific needs: gut health, athletic performance, anti aging, inflammation, immunity. They're all backed with various nutrients to help target those needs. Another thing that we love to do at Arctic is education. We want to educate all of our clients as much as possible. So, like our IV menu, on the back side, we have an entire nutrient dictionary that talks about all the nutrients that we have. What is glutathione? How can it help me? What is CoQ10? How can it help me? What is it best for? We want all of our clients to fully understand what all of these nutrients are so we can help target everything that they're going through.
And the all the modalities that you've mentioned and that are currently available at
Hmm.
Arctic Elevation, um, in this industry is always evolving. There's always new stuff coming out. Is there anything out there that right now you're currently like looking at and thinking maybe that can be also brought into the franchise?
So something that we've done really well at is advancing along with the curve, not staying behind it.
Mm-hmm.
We're all about introducing only the most advanced wellness treatments for whole body ailments. This year, we introduced CBD IV, which we are one of the very first providers of such treatment. NR infusion, we started providing NR infusion. We increased all of our blood test panels. We have over 35 blood test panels. So a client can walk in and actually test and see what's going on inside their body, whatever it is, whether they want a fully comprehensive panel or a very specific vitamin D panel. We're able to see what's going on. But there are a lot of other really awesome services, hyperbaric chamber that we've introduced within our model. And as we continue to go, technology is going to continue to advance, and we're all for that.
And how do you guys keep up with all that?
Hmm. Well, our medical team likes to take care a lot of that. I apply myself in every single treatment to see how I'm going to feel off of it. Again, I went through a lot of different pain. I know what has worked and what helps me. That's what brought us to what we offer right now. And we will continue offering, again, which is what helps my situation. My situation is going to help other people as well.
If you were to kind of look into the future
Hmm.
and you do you guys have an idea of how many locations you want to be out there in the United States? Is it going to go beyond the United States into other countries? Do you guys talk about that yet, or are you just sort of just taking one step at a time?
One step at a time with big leaps. We will have well in the triple digits of locations across the states, and we'll have locations in Europe. So not only are we on in the US, but we're going global as well.
Wow, that's so cool. Interesting. Have you faced any like resistance for this? Like maybe some people who came in and they either they're listening to their doctor,
Hmm.
because I'm sure that like think about this, like if this industry really, takes off
Hmm.
and there's gonna be more healthier people in America,
Hmm.
someone's not gonna have their quotas
Yeah. So
met,
earlier
right?
when you asked what's wrong with our healthcare system, you just answered your own question. If the US was to get healthier, various people won't hit their quotas anymore. That's what Arctic wants to achieve. We need a healthier US. We see a world without limitations. That's our vision, to enhance individuals' longevity through the most advanced cellular level healing treatments.
What do you think about this new MAHA movement? They're talking a lot about doing different things, changing, for example, like certain foods,
Hmm.
right? The one of the reasons why so many people in this country are unhealthy is because of the foods, the
Yep.
consumption of
Hmm.
so much chemicals in the food, right? And now I hear that certain colors are not going to be allowed anymore. Like,
Hmm.
do you think that that movement, that MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again, um, does it sort of go well with your vision for Arctic elevation?
The MAHA movement needs to get pushed and pushed and pushed with more effort to deliver what they are saying. With our nutrition, all the processed foods that we have in the US, it's honestly sad. When we look at other countries and we look at their food and their intake, I believe the statistic is over 40% of American adults are obese. That is unreal. It is sad when you hear that. And you can
Mm-hmm.
see that within every single city that you go through. But that can be changed with nutrition. I went through a lot of different, I guess I would call it nutrition science projects. I like to see what's going to help my body operate at the highest level. I've cut out dairy, gluten, eggs. I've cut out a lot of different things to see how my body's going to feel. I've done the keto diet, I've done the carnivore diet. How's my body going to feel the best? That's what a lot of people need to continue to do. Cut out the processed foods, eat just more whole based while just having an 80-20 balance. I like an 80-20 life where 80% of my diet is whole based foods, where 20% of my life, you can still have, that fast food place, the dessert. You're supposed to live life happy, naturally, with balance at an 80-20 rate.
Yeah, I agree with that. You mentioned that you love sports.
Hmm.
Would you say you're pretty competitive person
Oh, yeah.
in business as well?
Oh, yeah. Uh huh.
Um, do you think that, you know, doing what you're doing, building a franchise um, with multiple locations opening up, I'm sure that right now your schedule probably gets even more and more
Hmm.
demanding, that doing this does require a high level of competitiveness.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, you need to be crazy about something. Professional athletes, the percentage to become a professional athlete, they are all so crazy about their love, that about their passion, basketball, football. You need to be so crazy about it. You have to be competitive about it. I don't think we've ever seen anyone that in the NBA that was successful that wasn't competitive, that didn't care to win or to be successful.
Here's a big question. Um, do you think like this? Is there a legacy that you want Arctic Elevation to leave? Like, I don't know, like sometimes people think more like short term and one step at a time.
Hmm.
Then there are those people who think beyond even w- their time,
Hmm.
Like, do you think like that? Do you ever talk about maybe with Kiana about like the legacy that you guys want to leave?
Hmm.
Where, like, what's like if you would say, like, I know you kind of shared a little bit like the motivation, the inspiration for
Hmm.
what you're doing, but something that's bigger than just maybe than just right now what Arctic Elevation is.
I want Arctic to be known as a lifestyle where we aren't just a wellness center. People will think about Arctic Elevation as a genuine 24/7 lifestyle that can help attribute to everything that goes through in their life, whether it's prevention, whether it's advancement, longevity. Arctic Elevation is the key for all of that. We're not just a regular wellness center anymore. We are the number one thought of, sought out for just lifestyle in the entire US. That is what Arctic Elevation is aiming for. We want to be known as a genuine place with empathy, sympathy with every single client that walks through. We are going to listen to you. We're going to build a friendship with you, and we're going to guide you every step of the way.
Wow, that was said very, very well. Um, I mean, there's one question that I wanted to ask, but you sort of shared a story. But my podcast is called the Greatest Story Podcast,
Good. That's a
and
good name.
what I try to ask whoever I talk to on this
Hmm.
podcast is if they can share a story that really changed their life in the right trajectory. You shared your health story. Is there anything sort of like in the process of building this business that could be a story that you realized something, you had a pivotal moment, something that was so impactful that it sort of gave you either this nudge or just changed the direction for you in a big way?
There are a variety of different stories, whether it's personal things that I've gone through in my life, at my absolute breaking point. I think it's also been the personal accomplishments that I've achieved along the way. I think the first time that I climbed Mount St. Helens, I think that was the first time where I felt in my life I can accomplish something really big.
When was that?
2021. So that was the first time that I climbed Mount St. Helens. And then it became an annual trip just for fun. That's how I feel that's how we are designed as humans. We are training super hard for something, whether it's physically, mentally. We're training super hard. We're studying super hard. We accomplish it finally, but then we have to do something even bigger to get stronger, to get smarter. And that's, I think, what it's always been the drive for me. But genuinely, I think the first time that I climbed Mount St. Helens, mentally, I was able to kind of multiply that energy towards everything else in my life. I've always had this gravitation towards Mount St. Helens. I grew up wanting to climb it. I don't know what it was. Loved going camping there, taking photos of it. And I always said, I'm going to climb it one day. So I went out. It was May of 2021, climbed it with 2 friends. And when I got to the summit, it was that feeling inside of me that almost is indescribable in a way, that sense of accomplishment, but you're only 50% done when you're at the top of a mountain. You still have to get all the way down. So with Arctic Elevation, I had that idea. Maybe we opened, but I'm not even close to being done. Then we're still climbing and climbing and climbing. That's what makes me excited about the potential, about everything with my life. Growing my own personal family, growing business. It's that growth is something that's just so desirable, and I just want more and more, especially when you just get a small taste of it.
Oh, that's amazing. Awesome. Well, I think we can end it right here.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really enjoyed this conversation. Anything else that you want to share, or how can people connect with you if they want to ask you questions specific to the industry, or just want to, get to know you more?
If they want to speak to me personally, just email our direct info at arcticelevation.com website. We will then get in touch via various few steps. I'd love to get to know every single person that comes through our way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David.
Thank you so much.
It's a
Paul.
pleasure.
So over 90% of you watching right now are not subscribed. If you have made it this far and want to support what we are doing, hit the subscribe button. We are committed to making each episode better than the last. If you have enjoyed this video, here's another one for you to watch.